Okay, it's saying that I'm live, so that means I am live. Welcome, welcome, welcome. Congratulations, everyone who have made it so far. I am super excited about this boot camp. I did it in February and it went really well. And I actually realized how many businesses it helped before, and I want to just go ahead and do it again. As long as you pay attention and as long as you apply what I've taught you, you are going to be fine. Okay. So before I go into it, I just want to introduce myself to those of you who may not know of my existence. My name is Rika Selman. I am a brand strategist and a design consultant, and I actually help service-based businesses attract more customers to their business and improve their visibility. And I am, let me get my notes together here. Let me get my life. Okay, where is it? All right, and I'm also going to give some more people some time to crawl on in here in the room. Okay, great. Okay, we got these notes ready. I'm ready to go. I'm ready to go. All right, y'all. So yeah, once again, congratulations on making it. I actually wanted to. The first thing I wanted to do. Actually, what are they talking about? My frame rates. Okay. All right. So the first thing I wanted to do was I actually wanted to find out what businesses are in here. What do you do? You can go ahead and type those in the comments. If you're watching the replay, type it in the comments. If you're watching live, type it in the comments. What businesses do we have here? What do you do? Um, and you can go ahead and write that in the comments. I actually want, before we get started, I actually wanted to reiterate a few things before we get going. And so you may actually hear some of this information over again if you watch the welcome video, but this is in case people did not watch the welcome video, which I'm sure everybody may have not gotten a chance to do. Okay, so the first thing is everything happens in the group. We're gonna have the guides section. In the top part of the group, you're gonna see guides, and that is where your homework will be. That is where the workbooks will be. And just make sure that you do the workbook, you do the little assignments, and then you click done. And they're gonna be super easy, y'all. Like, I'm not trying to make your life hard. We are all very busy people, and we all have things to do, right? So that is the first thing. The second thing is if you look in the course outline, some days we're gonna have like catch up days, which is basically like giving you time to watch the video, get the assignment done, whatever you need to do. And like I said, we're all busy people here, so for those of you who are not able to make the live session, that is why I have the replays available. We will have some days which are Q&A days, but I would require you to submit your questions beforehand so there isn't a lag. If I don't get any questions beforehand, then we won't worry with the Q&As for that day. Okay? All right. So like I said, each day we have a workbook for each unit, and those will be, like I said, found in the guides section. What else do I need to go through? As I mentioned before, there are please no links or promotions of your amazing product or service. I'm pretty sure there's somebody here who would be able to benefit from your service. However, you can like message them separately if they show interest in something you do. We will have a moment where we'll be able to talk about what we like, the services that we do and that kind of thing. Make sure that you um, introduce yourself. If you have not already, I would like you to go ahead and introduce yourself and say, hi, Carla. Hi, hi, hi. Hey, girl, hey. I would like you to go ahead and introduce yourself in the group. Um, either put a photo and say, hey, my name is blah, blah, blah. I do this thing, right? The reason why it is important to introduce yourself is because, like I said before, there may be somebody here who actually cares about something that you're doing. There may be somebody here who may be interested in what you're doing. And we have a lot of amazing service providers in this group right now. And, you know, that's the opportunity to connect with some person, to partner with some person, to collaborate for something. So definitely introduce yourself, be active, be seen, and yeah, you honestly never know where that can go. I've honestly met a lot of amazing people just by being active in a Facebook group. To be honest, so it is really beneficial and really good marketing. Okay, that was a hint. First step in branding, right? Um, if you have, let me know if you have any questions so far. I am happy to answer them. And if not, we are sailing right along. Okay? All right, at the end of this, we're going to have a virtual award ceremony. As long as there are enough people who have participated throughout the course, we will have a virtual award ceremony where we give prizes to people who would have participated. So if you are, if you were the most participatory, if you did all of your assignments the first, or did whoever had like the most improvement, right? We're going to be giving different awards to different people, and we are watching, so make sure that you pay attention. The other thing is, I would like to know if anybody's willing to volunteer. I need one additional volunteer to help me pull this together. Last time I did not have, I don't have the same amount of help that I had last time, so I just need one more person to volunteer. It won't be anything extensive. I just need some person who like understands Facebook and can do a few little things for me. Okay, it's not very time consuming. It's just that I need an extra hand because your girl got a lot on her plate. Okay. Hi, Andrea. So if you are coming in, go ahead and say what you do, right? Go ahead and say what you do, and I have it here. I have to keep flipping back and forth. Go ahead and say what you do, the name of your business. This is when you're doing your introduction. What you do, the name of your business, what made you decide to do that, and what do you hope to gain from this course, okay? All right, so we're gonna sail right on into the first thing. So, like I said, today it's really about myths, right? Before we start designing, before we start building a brand, there's certain things that I need to dispel right away. I need to make sure that that people understand certain things about branding and certain things about building their brand, because we live in a DIY age right now. Everybody uses Canva. Everybody thinks they're a graphic designer. So I created this because I wanted to create a platform for people who are DIYers, and to educate them on exactly how to use their brand, right? Okay. So the first thing is, the first myth that I want to dispel for you is, you do not need to have fancy software to create amazing graphics. Okay, you can use PowerPoint, you can use Canva. Hi Ravonda, hi Kukiyoma. You don't need, the first myth I want to dispel today, you do not need fancy software to create amazing graphics. Okay, you can use PowerPoint, you can use Canva, you can use Illustrator, you can use Microsoft Word for all I care. It's really not about the software. And the reason I'm saying this and including this is because I've been a graphic designer for about 10 years now, right? And over the years, that is I used to get a lot of comments about, like, the only reason or one reason why I was able to produce great graphics was because I was using Illustrator or because I was using Photoshop. And then, that is why, like, people feel like, oh, I need to have this software in order for me to do the thing, But I'm here to let you know, okay? I'm here to let you know that you actually need to just understand certain elements of design. The reality is that installing a software does not automatically make the design process easy. Now, some software makes designing easy for those who understand design, but and let me know if you've already, if this has already happened to you, if you've already downloaded Illustrator or Photoshop and then you're using it and then you're just like, what is this? It's way too complicated. I don't understand anything. And it was because it really was not about the software. It was about the fact that you need to understand certain design elements in order for you to create something great to start. Okay? So, for example, using Canva is a really Canva, let me say this first. Canva is a really good platform. I really, really like Canva. There's some graphic designers who feel like it's taking away their jobs, but in my mind, I feel like if you were just spitting out a design, then there's more you need to look at for what you're offering to people, right? Your talent cannot stop at just creating a graphic. It has to be about more. So for me, I actually think Canva is a great platform. And now that I have gotten that out of the way, let me say that I do believe that with the popularity of Canva, people have started to feel like Canva is now their brand person. Canva is now their their graphic designer, and to an extent, I see where that comes from. But at the same time, there's too many times, y'all. There's too many times that I see. Um, there's too many times that I see us using these graphics, using Canva, and then just like ruining it. Like it's just like it was a nice template to start, y'all. Like it was a really nice template to start, and then it got crazy in the event. And just put a yes if you understand what I'm talking about um, in the comments really quickly. The other thing is right. So, like I said, a lot of Canva templates are destroyed because people may not understand design, which is actually one of the inspirations for me creating my Profitable Branding Masterclass. Is because I wanted to help empower entrepreneurs like you, service providers, to create a brand on your own, but to do it in a way that is still done well. Okay. There's so much money you could be that you are leaving on the table by not actually paying attention to certain aspects of branding and design and building your brand and creating an aesthetic that is attractive, because that is essentially what the goal is. Attractive, but also like communicates well, right? So that's the first myth. Okay, I see yeses coming in. That's the first myth that I wanted to touch on. I would actually like to know, what myths do you have about where is my why does this keep popping up, yo? Right. What myths? Ah, okay, there we go. You should see a little card pop up that kind of for you to answer the question. But I want to know, what myths do you have, or do you think you have in relation to design? Okay. And while you're answering that, I'm gonna go ahead to the second one. Okay, good. I just wanted to make sure that card was still open. Okay, great. All right, so on to the second one, y'all. On to the second one. Now, the logo is not, having a logo does not mean you have a brand. Like, did I just touch a nerve a little bit? Did I just touch a little nerve? My apologies if I did, right? But your logo, having a logo does not mean that you now have a brand. Okay, it really doesn't. There's so many things that encompass a brand, that make up a brand. That really, like, the logo is actually the smallest part of your brand. To be honest, your logo also should not necessarily have a lot of, it doesn't have to have a lot of things. So for example, if you do lashes and makeup and all these things, and you cut hair in your spa, like, all those things don't have to be in your logo. Like, you really don't. You can have a text, you can have a simple symbol. It really does not have to have all these different things in your logo, okay? And I can go on. We could have one whole session on logos. But what I really want to leave with you today is that a logo is identification, not communication. So your logo does not necessarily, and that quote is not by me, that is by Savi Hagi. He's a really amazing graphic designer who works for the company, the design firm that created NBC's logo, National Geographic, Chase Bank logo. Like a lot of the logos right now that have been basically like timeless. They're the company that created it. He works for that company. He's one of the partners, and he said identification is not communication. Okay, and when he said it in that way, it shook me. It changed my life. I already knew that, but it was how he said it that really allowed me to communicate it to my clients more when I had to do logos for them, to talk them off the ledge of having so many things in the logo, right? So the your logo needs to be timeless. It has to be something that just like 20 years from now, 10 years from now, it still works, it still makes sense. And that is really what a logo is supposed to do. It has to just work. It has to make sense. It is functional. It identifies who you are as a company, and that is really it. Should it look nice? Absolutely. You know what I mean? Like, we're visual creatures. We see somebody that's attractive. We see a house that looks good. We see plants or flowers. We're visual creatures. So yes, it should look good. But there's certain elements with a logo that we don't carry, that, you know, like that may look good for a painting or look good for an illustration or look good for a drawing, that we kind of bring to the logo space, and it doesn't really deserve that. Logo is a different form of art. Okay. Okay, so someone once told me a good logo should be recognizable and easy to understand at any size. Exactly. That's what I say all the time. It definitely needs to be able to easy to understand at any size and in any color. And I was just getting to that point, Carla. So you are on it, girl. You're on it. What I wanted to say about that was that you look at, if you're watching me from a computer, look at if you can remember, like, you know, at the top of what do you call it? At the top of your browser, your web browser, there's a little icon, and no matter how many, like if you're like me and you have a million, you have a million tabs open on your browser, no matter how many you do, you know which tab you need to go to. Why? Because of the icon, and it doesn't lose its like essence. It doesn't look different. It's still easy to recognize, and you know exactly which tab you need to go to in order for you to do that. I'm going to give you one more example of that. I don't know if you know of Chase Bank logo. If you don't, go ahead and Google it when you get a chance. But Chase Bank logo, you can actually Google the first one and the second one. But Chase Bank logo it was like the map of like the US, and it had a lot of these details. And then the same company, Sagi Haviv works with, he's a partner, his company. They actually redesigned it, and the owner hated the logo, y'all. He hated the logo of Chase Bank logo when that was first created. But the designers were like, no, this is the way you need to go. Like, I promise you, I'm not gonna lead you astray. This is what you need in your life. And then he was like, I don't even know about all that, but I guess whatever. So years later, now this logo was actually created when there was like black and white television. Like, it was like back in the day, like apps weren't even invented, all these things, and that logo was created. And even now, if you go look at the logo, that logo looks like it was created last year or this year. It's timeless. Okay. It can fit in everything. So it fit context that when it was created, the context that didn't exist. For example, like I said, apps. Maybe like a little widget on your toolbar, so on your computer, so you know like which software you want to select. Like, though all these different things, is you have to think about where your logo is going to go, and how it's going to translate into a plethora of forms that you're doing. If you're an entrepreneur, if you're starting a business, and I'm pretty sure you have goals, you have dreams, you know you have 5-year plans, and you can reach those 5-year plans. One of the things you have to take into consideration is your logo going in places that may not be invented yet. You want your logo to be timeless. So that is the end of my TED Talk with logos. But yeah, that's that. Let me see here. Let me go to my that everything has to be center aligned. Okay, so I'm reading your miss about what you have about design. Everything has to be center aligned. Yeah, everything definitely does not have to be center aligned. Left aligned is actually my favorite, especially if it's on a blank canvas. Andrea says she does not know where to start. I feel you. Ravonda says design is easy, right? And the thing is, design is like most things. Like if you are a cosmetologist, maybe plaiting hair is easy because that's your thing. That's what you were born with. That is what comes easy to you. If you're like me, who's like a graphic designer, design has, it's easy for me to catch on to concepts. Even when I was in school, I did really well because I caught on to the concepts really fast because it was already in me, right? So, if it's your thing, it's your thing, right? If you're like Rhyme Minister, like freestyling and having words flow off the top of your brain, just like on a whim, that could be considered easy. But, like everything, things get easy, air quotes, because of practice and because we are consistently doing the thing over and over again, which once again is why I created a platform like this, because I want it to become, air quotes, easy to you, as it has to a lot of the other people who have gone through the boot camp, who went through my masterclass. I wouldn't say I'm not gonna speak for them and say design is easy, but because they know what to look for, it gets easier, right? Okay, so that is the first thing. Now, I want to know, I actually would like to know from you guys, where do you see your brand a year from now? I'm going to open the card. You should see it pop up. And I would like to know, where do you see your brand a year from now? So go ahead and write in the question box for me really quickly. And in the meantime, I'm going to go on to my third and final point. About myths when it comes to design. Actually, I have two more, right? I'm going to touch on this because it kind of flows into the logo, and then I'm going to go to my fourth point. So the third one the third myth that I have is kind of goes with the logo energy of less is more, okay? So there are times when you may be working on a Instagram post for your page, or maybe a flyer for something you're doing, and you have to, even if you're using a Canva template, something might look wrong, something might not make sense. And I promise you, the solution is not adding more things. I promise you, 9 times out of 10, your problem with that design is not that you need to add more things to it. Okay? 9 times out of 10, your problem is that you need to understand how to make the elements that are already on that page work so that it makes sense for you. Okay? And that is what, I teach in the Profitable Branding Masterclass. We're going to teach you more about how you can do that to make sure that when you are creating your brand on social media, like everything is fleshed out well and everything always looks fluid and flows and easy and seamless because you understand certain elements. Okay, so that is, Kiyoma says, oh yes, practice. I'm sure, of course. I don't know if anybody has ever seen Kiyoma, but his every time I see him perform, I'm just like, I'm in love. I love it. I love to see it. So that was my third point. Less is more. The problem with your design 9 times out of 10 is not that you need to add more things. You probably should take away, right? And you probably just need to understand how to make the elements that are on the page work together, okay? So the fourth one is kind of like a sidebar one, but I still think it's very important to know. A graphic artist and a graphic designer are two different things, right? A graphic artist and a graphic designer are two different things. The reason why this is important to understand is because there are people who tell me, or I've had clients who told me, they come to me for a logo, but last time they went to this person, but it didn't come out right, and blah, 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 and now they need to rebrand because it looks old. Do you know why? Because a graphic artist is an illustrator. They're the ones who, like, they know how to draw really well. They know how to create like characters, or they know how to, create things like draw, you know what I mean? A graphic designer we are not artists in that form, like we draw characters, but we more about understanding how elements on a canvas work, like topography, shapes, pictures and how to make those things work together on a canvas. So that is actually different, understanding elements of design on a canvas as opposed to an illustrator who understands like more like depth of field and drawing and know like where to shade on a face and stuff. That is not my strong suit. But that is the difference between a graphic artist and a graphic designer. So if it is that you go to a graphic artist for a logo, it's going to be very detailed, it's going to look good, and it's going to be very detailed. But that is actually not necessarily what your logo should be. Your logo should actually be very simple. If you have some person, and let me also say this, and I'm not trying to throw shade at nobody's life, at nobody's job, but this is just a fact, okay? A graphic artist who, if you see some person and they draw really well and then they've done a few things for people and then you're like, oh yeah, they do logos, and it's really detailed, all these things, and it may look like a good work of art because, you know what I mean, like they're good. It doesn't necessarily mean that that is the best thing your logo should be. It doesn't necessarily mean that that's what your logo should be doing, okay? They're very detailed. That's what they see the world in a different way. And there's a lot of details a lot of shading and colors and drop shadows that they put that really does not need to be in a logo. Logo should not have a drop shadow. Logos should not have strokes like with thick things around the words, like, you know, like outlines around the words. Logos don't need to have those things. So I just wanted to know the difference. I just wanted to share that because there are times where people come to me and say, hey, I need a cartoon drawn. And I'm like, you need an illustrator. If you need a logo, you need me. If you need a flyer, if you need a branded identity, if you need, you know, ways for your brand to come to life in you know, in that space, then you need a graphic designer, right? So I just wanted to throw that out there. I hope that let me know if that was something that you learned today. Let me go back over here to the questions and see. Okay, so hopefully with a larger presence and more opportunities to work with others. Okay, that's a good one. That's a good one. All right, cool. So that is actually the end of our first session, y'all. It wasn't too long. That's the end of our first session. Let me know if this was helpful to you. If you know anybody who would be able to help me, who has a bit of time on their hands and is willing to help me out with a volunteer for my pay for this boot camp for the next this week and next week, let me know. I really just need some person to help me out. It's not a lot, but I just need help. And what's the other thing I wanted to say? Once again, this, as I mentioned, my Profitable Brand Masterclass, formerly known as Design and Branding Masterclass, is the Profitable Brand Masterclass because it's not just about design and branding, it's also about a profitable brand. How do you build that? And that is what the masterclass is about. I created it because, like I said, I've noticed entrepreneurs do a lot of things on their own and they want to learn how to continue to doing things on their own. There's Canva, there's all these different things that help that create the kind of space where entrepreneurs are doing a lot on their own, and I wanted to create a platform for those people so that they're doing the best that they can. If you think that that's something you'd be interested in, you can just actually just message me real quick, and I could put you on the wait list. The class will be starting soon, and I'll have more details on that as time goes on. But that is really it. If you would like to work with me, if you see the workbook in Unit 1, there's a space there for you to go and fill out. It's really, really, really short because I'm lazy. So I don't be to give people long stuff to fill out. But it's really, really short, but just something so that I have an understanding of where you are in your business and what exactly you need to figure out how I can help you build your brand, okay, and get this thing together. So that is that, y'all. That is the end of the first one. Let me know if you have any questions. Let me make sure I've covered all of my notes for today. And okay, so yeah, the last thing I wanted to say is if it is that you, not if it is, you're going to see each day we're going to have an assignment. Today, the assignment is really just going to be sharing with me what myths you learned, what myths you what am I trying to say? What myths you had that were dispelled today. So when you see that post go up, just go ahead and comment underneath. And once again, don't forget, you're gonna, at our virtual award ceremony, you get an award for participation. We're going to be giving away different things, but for participation, for completing the assignments, and all those things. So it is actually to your benefit to make sure you are participating and showing up and doing things, okay? Um, that is it. I don't see any questions come in, but if you do have any questions and I just don't see it pop in yet because there's like a delay, you can go ahead and just put it as a status in the group so that I can make sure to answer that for our Q&A days or at our next session, which will be tomorrow. And let me touch on that real quick. So tomorrow, what are we talking about? Let me get my life together here. Tomorrow we are going to be talking about how to find the people who want to purchase from you. Okay? That is what we're talking about tomorrow at 12 p.m. Show up, be on time. Because that's what we're talking about. How to find the customers who want to purchase from you. Thank you so much to everybody who joined today. It has been a delight. It has been a pleasure. And I'm about to, okay, right, end live video. I see how to do it. I'm about to go. Have a wonderful rest of your day.